I clicked it.
First downs and donuts, Duncan's got 'em stacked. Silver and black attack, yeah, we're never looking back. Crowds on fire, feel the nation in the zone. Raiders rolling strong, bring it all the way home. He's got the glaze, got the grit, got the power in his stride. Duncan hits the sideline and the stadium ignites. Another chain moves and the fans all rise. Shields in the air, Vegas lights in our eyes. First downs and donuts, we like victory. Duncan keeps it cooking for the Raider family. One more drive, let the anthem ring. Raider Nation forever, let the Shield King sing. You all come back now, back now.
Hello, Raider Nation. I'm Donuts Duncan, and this is my co-host Jason Downs, and this is Show Me Your Shield. Here we got another week, another loss by our fabulous Raiders, and for 2 years in a row now, we have 10 straight loss seasons. 10 losses in a row in singular seasons. Granted, Max Crosby didn't play. Brock Bowers was out. Long list of players we held out because, frankly, our team accepted their fate and is trying to go for that number 1 overall pick, and plans worked. We're there now. So just got to finish out that season with against the Chiefs. And if we lose that game, we are guaranteed the number 1 overall pick. How are you feeling about that, Jason?
Well, I don't like it. I don't like losing, but sometimes you got to lose to win. So I know some franchises have turned they were able to turn their entire franchise around by having one of these types of seasons. Unfortunately, this season has been building for the last 3-4 years. So it's time we knock this nonsense off and get going.
Yeah, no, it's never fun watching your team lose. It definitely drags down the mood a bit, and I don't know. It's hard to be happy about getting that number 1 overall pick when your team's so bad, but ultimately we need it. We need that number 1 pick to try to right our ship and hopefully have a more successful season next season. But with that being said, we got one more week against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also sitting a bunch of their starters. So it's basically a glorified preseason game in my books.
Yeah, I don't think Kansas City is going to sit quite as bad as what we're doing because Mr. Kelsey's still playing. And if it's his last game and the Swifty Swifts are in the house, then he's going to want to ball out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to want to rub it in our faces one last time before he is gone with the wind.
Yeah. No.
But let's say hi to Jack. What's up? Salute to Raider Nation.
What's up, Jack?
Philip Figueroa. Hopefully we don't lose Crosby. Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's going anywhere personally.
I don't either. But you never say never, right?
Yeah, true. But Max is a Raider. I don't see him out flat asking for a trade. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of different scenarios that could go on where Crosby gets traded. But if, let's say he does he bring in 2 first-round picks for us? Does he still hold that value?
I say no. 1 first-round pick, yeah. but not 2.
I think he does bring in 2 firsts, and my only reasoning for that is because Parsons brought in 2 firsts and a player, and a starting player at that.
And what level?
Um,
What level of their career are they at though, compared to Parsons and Crosby though? Because that plays a big part in it.
I mean, Crosby's a little bit later, but he's still got at least 4 years in him. So a team that's right there ready to win within 2 seasons, like
Nah.
I think they would give up some picks for him.
Yeah.
It also depends on which team and what they have to offer and how desperate they are.
No.
I mean, the first team that comes to mind that would go after him is the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. I mean, can you
would think,
imagine? Imagine
you would
them
think.
trading away Parsons and they get that defensive player from Green Bay they get the D tackle from the Jets, and then Crosby, all from Parsons. And
There's
their
a
own
team.
first round draft pick.
There's a team in the NFC North that I think that might take a stab at him in the offseason. And they got a quarterback on a rookie contract. Well, actually, 2. Well, maybe Chicago, but I kind of think Minnesota might take a run at a trade with them, trading for him.
Minnesota would be interesting.
I think Detroit's played their way out of that now with their salary cap and how they've got their team constructed as is. And Aiden Hutchinson's almost back to 100%. He's had flashes this year, but I think with a good offseason, a healthy offseason for him, he should be okay next year. Should do a lot better. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a good point that you brought up was the salary caps. That's another thing that's got to be considered is what are team salary caps going into the offseason? And do they make roster cuts or adjustments, trade other pieces away to make room for somebody like Max Crosby? Like that would definitely have to be more stuff we have to pay attention to if a Max Crosby trade is serious, which until it comes out of Max's mouth, I don't believe it. Because he's told us multiple times, like, I've never said that. He's got the Raider shield tatted on his body. That's what he keeps going back to.
No. I mean, he's had some inner thoughts that he's kind of expressed, but it's just frustration. It's not like he's demanding a trade or anything like that. It's just, sometimes you get to a point, especially at a person as talented as him and as valuable as him, on the defensive side of the ball, you get to a certain point where sometimes you just say stuff and it's like, he doesn't really mean it, but yet at the same time, it's like, does he really want to be here? By him saying that? I mean, it just makes you feel like as a Raider fan, it's like, does he really want to be here? He does. I know he does.
Well, getting back to the Kansas City game, is there anything you want to see from it, like specific players getting more playing time or starting out right?
Charles Grant.
Oh, 100%. He's the easy answer.
Yep.
Charles Grant. See the field.
Yep.
I mean,
and I want to see Porter and press man coverage more.
Oh, that depends on who's actually calling the defense, because when it's Pete Carroll's turn, they do exclusively zone coverage and that cover 3 mostly. Yeah. I mean, when we see Patrick Graham's version of defense, it drastically changes how our defense is playing, and seems like our guys play a lot better in that.
Yeah.
I think Patrick Graham's defense is kind of simple. Like, he gives the players specific assignments during the play calls or for the play calls. And like, they seem a lot more quick acting, faster at doing their job. And like, they know what they need to do. Whereas the cover 3, it seems like they're thinking. So they're slowing down. Like, they don't know exactly how they should play it, or they're thinking back and forth. So I don't know. Also, though, if we do see the Patrick Graham defense, chances are it's a closer game, and we could end up winning it. Unlikely, considering how bad our team's been, but that does put that first overall draft pick in jeopardy depending on the outcomes of the games prior to ours.
That's what we're all going to be interested in is those games prior to ours. I think that we need the Giants to win and the Jets to win.
Well, if the Giants win, then we're good. The Jets right now are sitting at a higher strength of schedule than us, so we hold the tiebreaker. Obviously, if we won, we played the AFC East, so that wouldn't affect our strength of schedule versus the Jets. But there'd be other teams involved in that for the strength of schedule side. But easy way of going at it and looking at it is Giants win, Jets win, and then we can win without any worry for that first pick.
And if that's the case, I just march out. If we go into that game where we have the number 1 pick locked up, because I think we're 85% chance, right? Correct.
I think
that's
what I've been hearing.
It's 100%,
76%, but
technically it's 100% because we can control whether or not we win or lose.
Yeah.
But if we went into the Chiefs game with already having the number 1 pick locked up, let's win that game. Put Aiden O'Connell in. Let it rip.
Yeah. I also want to see the Bergs at linebacker, especially Tommy Eichenberg specifically, but I want to see both of them.
He's earned the right to get more snaps because he's done everything you've asked him to do on special teams. And when he does get in and play, he does perform adequately, I would say, but it's his drive and his hustle. So why not, man? This is year 2 for him. So,
well, also, I mean, that's a lot less of a serving size, but when he is actually in during the games on defense and not just special teams, doesn't seem like he really gives up anything that hurts us. He's always right there to make a play. If he does allow the receiver to make a catch, he's tackling him right there. Unlike White, guys just run right past him. That guy is a stone brick on the field.
Yeah.
He hits like one, but he also runs like one.
Ardell, if you're still there, thanks for the chat, brother. Glad to see it. He's one of our OGs from the 401 Raider Jeff side. In a roundabout way, I mean, is there much to talk about from this past week's game?
Not really. Porter played solid. The run game sucked like usual. Geno Smith, our fabulous tank commander, getting his job done.
No. I've never seen our own fans cheer for another team's pick 6 like they did in that game. That was insane. And it's almost like a fate. It's a fate cheer. We don't mean it, but at the same time, it's almost like, dude, that's Geno. This is what you get, Geno. We're gonna cheer for, So Mobile Raider, welcome in, brother. Hey, and for those of you guys, I know we only got 7 in the chat right now that are watching. Hey, man, share that show with your friends. Get it out there. We're starting to build something. This is only our 3rd episode. After the first of the year, we're going to close out, put a bow on this season, toss it in the garbage, and then we're going to bring out some stuff. Me and Duncan's going to bring out some stuff, some really cool fandom type shows to where it all a Raider Nation can come together and really start to, talk about where we come from and what it means for us to be part of the Raider Nation. So thank you, Mobile. Overall take on this past week's game, Duncan. What do you got?
We're definitely the worst team in the NFL. We got whooped by the 2nd worst team in the NFL. It was bad.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. It really is a joke at this point. A very badly written one.
Yeah.
But Yeah. I mean, it's over with. Got us in the running for that first pick overall. I mean, it's in our hands now. So,
Now, having said what we saw this past week, now we go back to the Texans game. Let's go back to the Texans game. Remember what we were talking about after that game? That it was nice to finally see a semblance of a football team actually trying, working together to achieve the goal of winning, right? Even though we didn't want them to win, but we still saw that, you know. And I am not a guy that says we should tank this season to try and get a draft pick. I think that's just and 90% of the people out there would agree that that's probably the stupidest idea to have going in, or game plan, quote unquote game plan, going into a season is, okay, we're not that good in August and September, so we're just going to go ahead and tank and try and get a top pick. You can't do that. That is, especially in professional football, you can't do that. But once we get from weeks 3 to weeks 15, and we saw what we saw this year, at this point, by the time we got to week 8 and 9, I was done. I was like, this team cannot compete at the NFL level. This is an expansion roster at best. And I've actually seen expansion teams play better than this.
yeah.
It was embarrassing. It literally is. In fact, it's so embarrassing. Other fans, when I go out in public with my Raider gear on, other fans, they don't even say anything anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't tell me my team sucks because I already know it.
We are now the Lions fans of old. Nobody talks shit about us anymore.
Well, we're not going to – there ain't going to be no 0-16, no 0-17.
No, we're just at that point where other fans take pity on us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, you guys are still rocking their gear, huh? Yeah.
Always have and always will.
Raider Nation till I die.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain to other people. And I don't know about you, but other people, when when you're born into this and your father makes you the Raider fan and he teaches you the passion of being a Raider fan, and then you take it to the next level, like I got to the point where I was more in tune with the Raiders than what my father was, and it just, I can't picture myself rooting for another team at all, ever. The only way I'd root for another team is if for some reason they sold this team to some doofus that decided to change the name and the colors, and then I'll still be a Raiders fan, but I'm not rooting for that team.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to what Cleveland did, the Oilers became the Titans and the Browns became the Ravens and so on and so forth. So,
yeah, the Oilers became the Titans.
Yep.
Well,
so kind of hard.
Money Chuck.
Yep,
Money Chuck. Best, but when the Raiders are that bad, can't really make it look much better. You could polish a turd, but it's still a turd kind of deal.
And this is probably the most difficult part because we're going to be going into the off season, and there's going to be, out of 100 Raider fans, there's going to be 99 different opinions on how things should be done, because it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be personal preference. This is what I want. This is what I think. But you have to debate it. Okay. And a debate is having a take and be able to substantiate it. But at the same time, your opinion should be open to other people's ideas as well. And you're not reclusing yourself. You're just basically, it's like, I see what you're saying, but I like my take better, but I'm not opposed to what you're saying. And that's kind of how I do things. The last thing I'm gonna do is tell anybody in this chat that, I'm going to disagree with it, most definitely. If I disagree with it, I disagree with it. Don't take it personal by any means. At no time should we be infighting with each other.
I grew up with a brother. There's plenty of infighting.
Yeah. But for the most part, as we go through this off season, there's going to be a lot of changes. Now, one of the changes that I think is going to happen, it may or may not happen, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, is going to be the coaching change. That's going to be kind of one of those deals. When does that happen? Do you think it happens on Black Monday?
I would like to say yes, but I think it's going to be similar to last year because they have that agency group that they brought in last year. I think they're going to keep them around.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll probably take them an extra day or two like it did last year.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I'm like 99.9% positive that Spytek is staying.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm 50-50 on Pete Carroll. Like, me personally, I would fire the whole coaching staff, get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them. But I think there is honestly a 50% chance Pete Carroll stays.
You think so?
I just got that feeling that the Raiders are going to try to get rid of that funk of they just fire coaches all willy-nilly, one and done, 1.5 and done, and just fire people until they get some sort of resemblance of a successful season.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's tough because, like, Pete Carroll, he's definitely a Hall of Fame coach. He won the national championship. He's won a Super Bowl. In the NFL, he's at worst had even seasons until this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know.
But has Father Time caught up to him?
Personally,
from a mental, not a physical
cover
standpoint.
three.
Not, what's that?
I say yes because that he's still playing that cover 3.
Yeah.
And it's just people figured out how to play against it. And the West Coast offense dominates the NFL right now. Like, most teams run some semblance of a West Coast offense, and that just eats up the cover 3. Like, cover 3, to me, just plays way too soft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have aggressive guys like the Legion of Boom in Seattle where they're playing everyone tight and just coming up hot and hitting people.
All right. So, Money Check, we're gonna dive into this quite a bit. This is gonna be a topic for the next 4 months. And you asked guys straight up question: how good is Mendoza? What class or tier of quarterback is he? What is his potential? Donuts, I'm gonna let you kind of run with that because we kind of hit the same ball on this one. So go ahead.
Well, I think he's pretty dang good. If you're looking at the previous quarterback classes, even back when Caleb Williams was drafted, I'd put him probably top 4, maybe 5. So I'd put him behind Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and then I kind of fumble around with the 4 through 6, but Caleb Williams is definitely, I think, a solid 4 in that group. And then there's arguments for other players, but I think Mendoza's right up there with them just because his style of play and the different offenses he's played in college, he's very smart. He's very accurate. When plays break down, he makes the smart plays. He's willing to throw that ball away. He's, in my opinion, a very high tier quarterback coming out of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Is he an Andrew Luck? No, not an Andrew Luck. But I think as far as the intelligence for the game goes, he is up there. I think he could be floor-wise. He looks similar to Goff, just able to run. But he's also not the most athletic guy. Like Dante Moore, way more athletic, better arm, is definitely the shinier of the two. But Mendoza's got a high floor, and he's not one of those high floor, safe bet picks that you normally hear about where, okay, he could start day one, but he doesn't really carry the team. Mendoza has the talent to be able to carry the team, which is what makes him even more intriguing because he has the talent.
I'm going to finish where you're going, I'm going to take it a step further. There's also another component to Mr. Mendoza that is very, very important, and that's leadership. If you watch him play with Indiana and how he commands a huddle, how he's communicating with his offensive line and his receivers, and dictating, knowing he is on the page and everybody else gets on the same page with him quickly. If you look, one of the things that I saw when we were watching the Oregon game, they had the camera behind him where you can see into the huddle, and you can just see all the offensive linemen were just like this going. And then when they break the huddle, they had enthusiasm. Like, all right, we're going to go out there, we're going to execute this play because we're confident what he's going to do, and that's very important. You got how many people in front of the quarterback on a given play, right? Anywhere's from 9, maybe sometimes 10, 8 that are in front of him where their backs are to the quarterback, right? So when they break the huddle and they go up and they're facing downfield and their quarterback's behind them, they have to trust that the guy behind them is going to do the right thing. And that's where Mendoza accelerates. He's going to do the right thing. He is not afraid to – the lights are never going to be too big for him. The game is never going to be too big for him. And he is not afraid to stare down the barrel of a gun and take him on. And you can clip that.
Another thing to add on for him is he's one tough guy. Like, he took a shellacking very early on in that Ohio State championship game.
First play.
He came right back. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was done after that play. That was
demolished.
Curry lit him up like no tomorrow.
Oh, he lit him up, and then the lights stayed on because he torched them. He played really good football against the best defense.
Yep.
Ohio State team is so stacked with NFL talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. And Indiana played really well against them. That was as close as you're going to get to seeing him play NFL players right now is against that Ohio State defense. And he showed up after he got his bell rung.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Money Chuck.
Yeah, Money Chuck. Money Chuck, one of our OGs from the 401 Raider Joe side. Money Chuck, Rosetown, Bueno, all those guys, if you can send them a message and say, hey, Jelly Roll's over here running his show, tell them to get over here because I know they want to come in here. So, and what we're
Jelly Roll skinny now.
What's that?
I said, newsflash, Jelly Roll skinny now.
Yeah. I have changed it to
Jelly Bean.
Jelly Belly. I like Jelly Bellies.
Gross.
I like Jelly Bellies. I like the butter popcorn ones.
Oh, no. Let's not get into that. That's just gross.
Oh, come on. Expand your palate, my friend.
But, I mean, while we're on the college players and draft, in a sense, like, honestly, there's pretty much 3 scenarios. And it's not even a guaranteed 3 scenarios because it all depends on if Dante Moore comes out or not. But the first 2 is draft your quarterback. Either draft Mendoza, draft Moore. The other one is you trade back. And you try to accumulate picks and get more talent into the building.
Is anybody in the chat willing to go offensive line first before we draft a quarterback? I want to hear that. And I'll give you examples of why I have my own preference. And Donuts is on the same page as me, which is kind of weird. But if you think we should build the offensive line, build the trenches first, then get a quarterback, bring that debate in and tell me why. Because I can counter that. I can counter that point. And there's evidence to support that. What do you think?
Well, there's 2 teams right now that are doing a pretty good job where they drafted the quarterback without the O-line and then built the O-line after.
Yeah.
And they're both playoff teams, and they were terrible teams the prior 2 seasons.
No.
And that's the Patriots and the Bears.
Yeah. Now go back even farther to the Cowboys back in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, they drafted Troy Aikman. He got his ass kicked for 2 years. And then they built that offensive line. Because you can build the offensive line as you go, but to get a franchise quarterback, to land on a franchise quarterback, and which we have for what? How long since Kenny Stabler? I mean, yeah, we drafted Derek Carr in the second round. You know, I don't think when we drafted him, we weren't drafting him to be the quote unquote franchise quarterback.
It just worked out that way.
He was going to be a developmental quarterback. He just happened to develop a little faster, and I think he reached his peak. But my take on Derek Carr is I appreciate everything he did because he offered stability for us at that position. But they should have been behind him. They should have been looking to get that quarterback.
Yeah. No, it was dumb to let him walk. They should have had a plan in place before letting him walk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, eventually we would have had to let him go or trade him away or whatever, but we needed that answer before he left. I mean, look at Green Bay. 3 straight quarterbacks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They bring them in, let them sit behind their starter, and then whenever the starter feels like moving on, they're like, okay, bye. And comes their next starter.
Don't be shocked if Green Bay drafts a quarterback in the next couple of years in the first round.
Yeah, they do it every time a contract on their quarterback's coming up. They draft a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They continuously invest in it, which is the biggest reason why Aaron Rodgers left was because they kept not getting him first-round receivers. And then he goes, and now they draft Golden in the first round. Funny how that worked out.
Yeah. But Money Chuck, I've been sold on Mendoza. I was pretty much sold on him after the Oregon game. The way he performed in that Oregon game. And all of his other games have been really good. Don't get me wrong. Some people are going to look at his stats. Don't look at the stats. You know, yeah, he only had 2,900 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Don't look at that, because if you correlate it to each individual game, there was a lot of games in which they got up so fast and so quick on other teams that they took their foot off the gas pedal and went to more conventional dink and dunk with a lot of run plays and try not to put him in harm's way, so to speak, because once let's face it, in college, you go up 35-0 at halftime. You come out, you score a touchdown on your first drive. Now it's 42-0. You know, the other team ain't even going to have enough possessions to catch up. So let's see. I'm a firm believer that more successful QBs are early first rounders. Well, offensive line players are much easier to hit on later rounds. Exactly, man. And like I said the other day when we were being done is on Sunday when we did the Sunday night or Sunday watch party. A few years back, I was watching a Draft Guru, and he basically said to get your franchise quarterback, you got to pretty much do it before the 40th pick of the draft. Because once you get to pick 40 in the draft, any quarterback after that, you're basically drafting them to be a backup quarterback, and that's your intent, is to draft him as a backup quarterback, like Derek Carr, and I think we took Carr with the 35th, the 36th pick, so it wasn't even a top. He was still a top 40 pick. But continuing is like Dak Prescott. He was drafted to be a backup quarterback. He was not drafted. They were not handing the keys to the franchise to him when they drafted him. He was going to have to come out and prove that he deserved the keys. You know, Tom Brady was same thing. You know, Brock Purdy, same thing. You know, they were drafted to be backups. But when you draft in the top 30, you're picking in the top 30, and there's a quarterback there that you feel comfortable enough with your evaluations in the top 30, you take him. You got to take him, especially if you need a franchise quarterback. You have to take him.
Well, as far as finding O linemen in the later rounds, when you're taking an O lineman that late, like you're letting them build. Like they're coming on practicing, like they're not expecting to start day one. So they're afforded that time to learn, build up, gain strength, gain weight, get that NFL speed and practice. And then they're running the practice squad O line against the starters. So they're getting valuable reps during practice, even though they're not as much anymore these days. It's still there. So those O linemen are afforded time because of how late they're being drafted.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it becomes a positional need as well versus, you have your variances in center, guard, and tackle. A left tackle and a swing tackle is going to be more valuable higher up in the draft than what a guard is and a center, because of the variances in positions. So your left tackle is always going to be the most coveted because that's going to be protecting your franchise assets on the left side. Whereas your guards are going to be more of your grunt and pull type guys that are going to be the beef. And then your center has to be the cerebral guy. He's got to be the one that got the 1400 on the SATs and that type of guy. So yeah, with the variances in positions, that's what changes a lot of that. And I know predominantly guards are late first round, second round, third round. You can get really good guards in those rounds.
Mr. Expos 52 with the Mendoza got smoked on that first or second play versus Ohio State, looked dead to rights, and then he came back. Guy's got size, can make all the throws, like his arm strength. He's definitely got good arm strength. Moore's is definitely better and is telling on some of the throws that his offense allows him to throw. But Mendoza's biggest thing is he's smart with the ball. So he knows the throws he can make and when he can make them, and he knows when to get rid of it. So like his arm strength isn't even a concern for me because he's smart with the ball.
But he has adequate arm strength. It's not like he's not a weenie arm by any means.
He's an adequate athlete too. He's not a statue in the pocket.
Yeah.
Like
he can break loose. He can break loose when he needs to.
As far as athleticism, he's probably where we thought Geno was going to be before he played this season. We didn't know Geno was going to be more immobile than Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah. I know a lot of player comps with Mendoza are Jared Goff. I know a lot of people, and I would take Jared Goff, at this point where we're at as a franchise, I would take Jared Goff. But I think he's a little faster than Goff.
Oh, yeah. Goff isn't really an athlete.
And
I'd definitely say Mendoza's at least car level of athleticism, where he can definitely gain some yards with his feet, but he's not looking to run. He's looking to throw, and then if nothing's there, he can make a move with his legs.
Yeah.
Finally,
we got a moderator in here. Thanks, Bueno. My very first moderator was Bueno, and he finally decided to show up. Hey, wake up! I need to program it into his. I think I need to send the notifications to his refrigerator.
But what's up, Bueno? But getting away from the draft, right? Because we still got to guarantee what pick we're at before we start saying, oh, I want to take this player or that player. Like, that's all great and dandy and all that. But we also need to figure out who our coach is. Is it Pete Carroll still? I mean, we could put a poll up and ask everyone, do they want to keep Pete Carroll for one more season or fire him, and who to hire after that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's say Pete Carroll's gone, right? What coaches are you looking at to bring in? And chat, go ahead and pipe in too.
Yeah.
what head coach? Oh, geez. What head coach candidates are you looking at?
Yeah. I know Bueno, he wants Gruden.
No, I'm done with the retreads. I
I'm
want a
done with
young
these.
and hungry coach.
Yep.
I want a guy
Somebody
to be able to grow with this team.
Yeah.
And personally, my favorite head coach candidate is Shula, the defensive coordinator from the Rams. But ultimately, I think you have to go with an offensive mind, because how many of these good teams have we seen where they have a defensive coach and their offense plays well, and then their offensive coordinator's gone, and then their offense tanks after that? Like, look at the Eagles every other year. They get a good OC, they go to the Super Bowl, then the OC gets taken away, and then they suck the next season or barely make it in the playoffs. And then they fire their OC and then get a new OC, and then he gets taken away. So it's like, I think you kind of have to go with the offensive minded head coach, so that way you can keep your offensive success. And then you can even get into the habit of drafting like the Niners, where you have an offensive guy, you have your offensive key pieces, but you keep adding to that defense. Because you know, with your offensive head coach, your offense is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're going to draft a quarterback with the top pick, we're going to have to go offensive minded coach. And I know, Bueno, I'm not going to say you're dumb for wanting to keep Pete. Because I truly think that if we do keep Pete, then 2025 was planned. This was going to be a ultimate evaluation, and some of the little pressers and nuggets that you catch out of his pressers is, yeah, I kind of felt that way, that they were one of the reasons why that they were doing with JPJ and some of the other moves that they were making with the roster and stuff. I really think that they were doing a lot of evaluation. Let's face it. I mean, how many free agents 1-year contracts did we sign? We had to fill the roster with a bunch of 1-year contract. So it's almost like it was a tryout. The 2025 season is going to be a tryout for everybody. And it kind of felt like that. But the company line was, we're going to win games. And after watching them in the Patriots game, I thought, there might be something to this with this coaching staff. And I thought just the coaching staff alone was going to improve us to 6 to 7 wins. That was my prediction was 6-7 wins. And I really thought I go 6-7 wins with about 3 or 4 more really competitive games, and then there might be a couple blowouts. And the teams that blew us out were not the teams that I was expecting us to blow us out. So do I think they should keep Pete Carroll? That's up to them. If the plan and the process was for Pete Carroll to be there, then stick with the process, what you're doing. Okay. If that's what Spytech has in his plans, is to just let's call this, say what it is. You can't come out and say, oh, we're going to try our best and we're not a good team, but we're going to try our best. No, you don't. You got to come out and say, we're going to compete, we're going to play hard, and we're going to win some games. Now, us as fans are like, yeah, we're going to win. And then reality sets in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your reasoning for keeping Pete Carroll is our roster is that bad. We're that severely lacking in talent. So it really wouldn't matter who was the coach. They were going to fail anyways because they didn't have the talent. But my argument against that is the actual coaching decisions that were made were so terrible that I don't think you can justify the roster being weak as an excuse. For example, all the head games they're playing with JPJ on letting them compete at center, and then next thing you know, he's competing for guard, and he doesn't even know he's going to start until game day, basically. And then Charles Grant had a great preseason, And when Miller goes down, they put Forsythe in. And Forsythe's been a good game here and there, but then when he doesn't have a good game, he has an absolutely terrible one.
Mhm.
Rodgers, I will give him credit on Rodgers because he was terrible in preseason. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was guys
Grant
out
too.
from left and right,
Yep.
and he needed all that time to get coached up and trained up and really figure out what he needs to do at guard. And I think he worked out really well. And he could end up being a future guard for us for a long time, which would be great. Another coaching decision, though, is Kelly Blue, worst cornerback in the NFL the whole time he was the starter. And we had Porter, who is a third-round draft pick, right? Because he got drafted the same round as Grant and Rodgers, but before them. And he couldn't see the field. And then when he does see the field, he plays hands down better than Kelly. And yeah, he had some hiccups here and there, but like he's a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes, but he's gotten better throughout the time he's played. It's just a bunch of coaching decisions that just add up to where it's like, I don't want any of them to come back. They can all leave.
Could I defend Pete Carroll for a minute, though?
You can.
All right. There is a coaching philosophy that sometimes you could take a rookie and put him out there too soon. Even if he's better than the veteran that's out there from a physical standpoint and ability standpoint, you can, it's like that. You know, it's like when you get a puppy dog and you bring him home and you just start whacking the shit out of him because he peed on the carpet. You know, there comes a point in time where you got to go, hey, why don't you teach the dog not to pee on the carpet and reward them? So, having said that, using that same concept, you kind of got to do that sometimes with rookies, especially later round rookies, because they can come in and have immediate success, and that could be detrimental to their development as well. So you got to be patient. There's some rookies you just have to be patient with. Now, Genty's a running back, so he's going to have to take his lumps on the fly. You know, you can't hold him back. And they did hold him back. I'm not going to lie. They did. But there comes a point in time with positional, depending on the position that they're playing, it's like, dude, you got to sink or swim. Especially you're the first round pick. So that's the obvious choice there. But also, too, with like Porter, I'm not too mad about them holding him back a little bit, because if we put him out there day one and he starts getting roasted over and over and over again, it's going to really break his confidence. And is he going to come out of it? You know, you can really hurt their development more by playing him too soon. So Rodgers, and we both agree Rodgers in preseason was horrible in preseason. So I would have liked to have seen it sooner, only because we were already, by week 7, we were already at a point where it's like, we need to start seeing the guys that need to develop, you know, and if it takes putting him in and playing him a whole game and he screws up, take him out the next game and have him sit there and watch, you know, and then put him back in a little bit.
Well, going off your point, perfect example would be Thornton.
Yep.
Right. He had a ton of success in the off season during their training camps and all that. And that was the name that kept flying off of all the inside reporters. As Thornton's tearing it up, Thornton's flying around, Thornton's making big plays, Thornton this, Thornton that, right? Preseason comes along, you could see some flashes of it, but it wasn't quite clicking. And then the regular season comes around and he's not performing, right? And he's just getting absolutely beat up. Like Geno Smith threw him under the bus in one of his press conferences. I think it was after the Charger game, I believe. Or maybe it was the Bears. I don't remember. But Thornton kept getting pulled and pulled and pulled. And like, it really seemed like they were not coaching this kid up. Like, it seemed like they were beating the dog after he pissed on the carpet kind of thing. And then the further along in the season we went, like, we don't see him at all anymore. He doesn't touch the field.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch a few games.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, talk about coaching decisions. Like, they're not coaching this guy up
Yeah.
at all. Like, he's going backwards.
Yeah, Jack Best was another one that I think it was what about week 8 or 9. You started to see it's like, okay, when we throw him the ball, he catches it. So why not target him 6, 7 times a game, 8 times a game? You know,
Well,
and get him going.
Until somewhat recently, every catch he made was a first down.
Yep. I think it was after Chip Kelly left though, because Chip Kelly, really, in all honesty, that theory of rookies not playing right away unless they're absolute is Chip. That's Chip Kelly's mantra. Because when he was at UCLA, he did that with Dante Moore. Dante Moore was the best quarterback on his team, but he was second string to start the season. You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it could be, but just plain and flat, like, I don't have faith in this coaching staff to coach up young players. And Thornton is a prime example.
mm-hmm.
But on the other end, you have Rodgers, who did work out. But he also wasn't being pushed to play early on. He was brought in, he was going to sit, and he was going to work his way up. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
But
I would have liked to seen Rodgers sooner. A lot sooner.
I mean, I can agree with that, but at the same time, I wasn't stressing about how soon he came in to start playing because of how bad he was in preseason.
Well,
so I can understand them holding him out. Healthy scratches, usually you want your second string players to be more game ready. So if they don't have faith that Rodgers can just step in and then run with the playbook, then he's going to be a healthy scratch as a rookie. And then they also had Kappa, which they love Kappa. I don't know why. But
I don't know why.
He's so smart, but he can't block.
Yeah.
All you hear about is how smart he is.
Looks like the skipper decided to join us. Must have wrapped up his calzone and joined us here on the show. What's up, Captain Skipper Hollywood?
He woke up from his nap.
Yeah. But more so, there's a lot of guys that had I think they were a little bit more game ready than what Pete Carroll thought they were. That should have been getting more playing time. Besh is one of them. I think so. The holding call that he had against Denver, the next play they should have thrown him the ball.
Well, they should have also coached him up instead of just pull him from the game.
Right. But my theory
wasn't he
is
a healthy scratch after that?
No. This past week was his first game that he missed. And I don't know what they never. Do you know why they kept him out this week?
Yeah, he was having back spasms.
Oh,
he
was
said
he?
to himself, yeah.
Okay.
He really wanted to play, but his back was giving him issues because his whole family from Louisiana came.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of his brother being killed in that tragic terrorist attack in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So that's going to be heavy on the heart for that whole family, and our prayers are to that family. But we will.
As far as playing, though, like, he was kind of a redundant receiver when we had Jacoby Myers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't agree at all with bringing Lockett in. Like, it makes zero sense. Like, he's not going to be on the team next year.
Like, I know why they
bring
did
him on for half of a season. Yeah,
because they knew they were going to trade Jacoby anyway. So you still got to kind of have some type of veteran presence in that receiver room.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think the veteran presence is a bit overrated, but I don't know, especially at the receiver position, because receivers are generally the diva position.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you really want a receiver that just demanded to be let go from a losing team to come join your losing team, like, just because he has familiarity with the quarterback and the head coach.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it. He wasn't getting a whole lot of love in Tennessee. I think he thought if he came here, he'd get a little bit of love with Gino and Pete.
Yeah. Well, they can go sing Kumbaya,
Yeah.
sipping margaritas on the beach someplace.
Sign over the door
Yeah,
says
I think-
exit. But getting back to Pete Carroll and with Bueno's thing, I wouldn't say it would be dumb. I don't think people would like it. I myself am 50-50 on that. And the only reason is if, and I truly believe this, that if they do keep him, 2025 was a plan. They were planning on us performing like this. They're not going to come out and say it. They're not going to come out and say it. That would throw up a bunch of red flags and sirens and up in NFL front office, as to why do we have a team that's doing this, intentionally losing.
Well, the plan was to rebuild up the team while trying to win at the same time. And Mostert, when he came in, it was after week 1. He had an interview, and he straight up said that it's interesting. He's never been on a team like this that's trying to build up the team for future success while also trying to win now.
Yeah.
So, like, as far as the players go, like, that's what they were thinking is they're trying to win now, but the front office is also trying to build up the team to make it better, which, hey, guess what? That's what all successful teams have to do. Like, you're not trying to throw away seasons.
You can do that if you got, say, a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, a Pro Bowl defensive end, a Pro Bowl lineman, one, right? Then you have maybe a receiver and a running back that are on the cusp of being Pro Bowl caliber, and a quarterback that is adequate, that is reliable. But you just need some more pieces. Now you can go, okay, we're going to try and win with what we have, but at the same time, we need to rebuild. And the rebuild, really, in all honesty, the rebuild started after Gruden. When we moved off from the Gruden regime, fired Mayock, and brought in Ziegler and McDaniels, they chopped the roster down the way they wanted to. They didn't get a finish building the roster the way they wanted to out the door, which I'm totally good with because I think they were shitheads anyways. Get them out of here. And then we go with AP and Telesco. Telesco knew he was going to have to build the roster because the roster was very weak. And I think, heart of hearts, I think they should have kept Telesco and then brought in Pete Carroll. And then that way the roster, we would have probably had a little bit better free agency, a little bit better of a draft per se. I don't think we would have moved back to 58. I think we would have stayed at, I think we went from 37 to 38 and got our extra third round pick back for the Geno trade. So, we're even on that. We're even on that standpoint. Just stay there. And it sucked when I saw Ratledge go off the board. Because I liked that
guy. You and I were both big fans of him.
And look what he's doing in Detroit.
The way I see the draft went is they were preparing for a quarterback because they knew they weren't going to get one in this last draft. We already had Bowers, great safety outlet for a quarterback. They got Genty, running game is a young quarterback's best friend, plus another safety outlet in the passing game. And then they go and get Besh, who's not an explosive receiver, but a consistent one who's going to get you those tough possessions. Oh, my God, I cannot speak today.
That's all right.
Possessions. They've been preparing for a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that's the move in this next draft is they're going to get that quarterback. The next question's who. We'll figure out as time comes on. But as of right now, Mendoza, I believe, is the only quarterback coming out. The latest rumors are suggesting that he is going to. But I don't see how he stays when his offensive coordinator left. He went and got a head coaching job someplace else in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Moore staying in Oregon, at least.
Yeah.
So he's
And
most likely coming.
Oregon is already starting to put feelers out into the portal as well.
Yeah.
So, so that in and of itself, I know Dylan Raiola. The rumor is Dylan Raiola is looking at going to Oregon. Somebody had mentioned Sorsby's even thought Sorsby's thinking Oregon or Indiana.
From Cincinnati?
The kid from Cincinnati.
I thought he was coming out.
He might, but I think here, there's a guy that I don't foresee him being a franchise quarterback just yet, but I think can develop into one of those because of he's got a great attitude and personality, and a lot of athletic ability and can sling it. And I think with a good enough semblance, the kid could do really, really good. That's Trinidad Chambliss. I think he has to reapply for an additional year because he's only got 1 year in Division I. The rest of his time was at Ferris State, where he won a national championship. But you watch him at Ole Miss, and I was like really impressed with that kid, of how competitive he was, how he was strong. His arm was strong. He stood tall in the pocket. Had a lot of confidence. He can make every throw that you can think of. Super athletic. He's kind of got some of that Jackson Dart bad habits in him, though, of being a little aggressive when he runs, not as passive. Because sometimes when you get to the NFL, you gotta kind of take yourself away from being an overall football player to you're a quarterback, and we depend on you to be a quarterback, not a running back. So when you do scramble and you do get yardage, make that business decision, my friend, because we need you for the rest of the game. But Trinidad Chambliss he's intriguing to me. He's intriguing because I watched a lot of him this past year with Ole Miss, and I be quite honest with you, if we drafted Mendoza and we had an extra 4th round pick and Chambliss is there, I'd take him too.
Well,
what the hell?
I mean, I do agree with taking a second quarterback in the draft. I'd try to take like a later round flyer, maybe like a 5th rounder on like Allar. Because Allar, if he went last season, there's a chance he was the first quarterback taken.
Garrett Nussmeier's another one.
I don't like Nussmeier as much myself, but he can sling it.
What's up, Dixon? Thanks for coming in, brother.
Howdy. But yeah, no, I think Allar would be that perfect late round quarterback because of his injury. So he's going to be forced down the boards later.
Yeah.
And then he had a rough season the season before his injury. And then his whole career in college can't win against the big teams. Yeah. So I think he would be a good quarterback to bring in late in the draft as a second quarterback drafted, to where he can sit behind whoever you have starting plus that first rounder, and then maybe he ends up panning out and taking over, kind of like how Cousins did with the Washington team.
Yep.
I'm not bueno. Thornton Jr. needs to pack on some weight. He'd be out there looking like toothpicks.
Definitely. That is about the easiest way you can put it. It looked like one stiff breeze and he was going to blow away. He needs to get his man body. Even if he gives up a half a second to a second in speed, he's got to get his man body. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I mean, his speed's nice, but he has no body control, and his agility's lacking.
Although this past week, back shoulder fade, he played it really well. He just didn't space himself enough on the sideline, which it all goes together, right? You got to have the spacing plus the body control. But for the most part, he played it well. He sold it as a go with a back shoulder fade, and he turned around. It just so happened he landed out of bounds. he stepped out of bounds. But that,
They're going to draft 2 quarterbacks at this point too.
yep,
Ah,
yeah,
man,
you know,
I'm this
yeah.
bad at the position, and our whole quarterback room is this bad. Like,
or an RB2.
fresh
We
blood.
need to get an RB. We're going to have to get an RB2.
Yeah.
You know, so
Now-
you can get that
now
thunder
with
and lightning.
Genty is technically more of a power back, right? You wouldn't say he's
Mm-hmm.
an elusive back, but he can catch the ball really well in space.
Yeah, we saw that this year.
Go a big power back to go with him, or do you go more of a receiving back?
I would go with a back that is going to be complementary to Genty's style. So somebody that is more natural at running power. But if they're more of an elusive open field type, or they're looking more in the second level to get break open and avoid tackles, I would take that. The comparison I would make is when we had McFadden and then we brought in Michael Bush, right? So McFadden it was our RB1. He can run a lot of power, but he also can run zone as well because of his athletic ability. But Michael Bush was more of a power, but also was very reliable out of the backfield as well.
Yeah. I'm not bueno. If we draft a quarterback round 1 and in the later rounds, would you be okay with moving on from O'Connell and Miller? Miller, I think, is safe on the practice squad. Like, we can keep him there as an emergency quarterback if we need him.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden, well, here's the thing to add on is, do we keep a veteran quarterback to start over both of the drafted quarterbacks so they don't have to start as a rookie?
I would keep him as just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case that number one, just in case our number one is not ready and the team is not ready for him as well.
Well, it's not like we have to make a decision on Aiden right
No.
away. Like,
No,
he's
we got him
signed
next
through
year.
next season.
Yep.
But so, I mean, we keep Miller, we keep Aiden just because they're on the rookie deals. Miller's probably going to be safe on that practice squad. And even if somebody does take him, oh well. Like, we
Mhm.
drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks. More of the question is, do we keep Aiden or do we let him go, try to find a trade partner for him because we brought somebody else in to try to guide the rookies and possibly play over top of them so that way they don't have to play as a rookie? Like, it also depends on who we bring in as a coach. If Pete Carroll's even if Pete Carroll's here, we're going to get a new offensive coordinator. So
Yeah.
it all depends on the play caller, which it seems like nowadays most NFL coaches want somebody who's mobile. So Aiden's pretty much out in most books.
Yeah.
But personally, I would keep Aiden. Let him be the starter for at least half of next season so that way the rookies can learn. I don't want to start them personally, the rookies, but
Mhm.
we may be in a situation where we have no choice.
I hope not, because that rookie quarterback, although it doesn't hurt for a rookie to take some lumps his rookie year, it doesn't hurt, but just not subject him to punishment week in and week out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the lines, because he's not as athletic as Caleb Williams by any means, but he's athletic enough, and he did. Now, when he played at Cal had a horrible offensive line, had a very hard time protecting him, and he still did well managing his throws and his contact. About the only game that I saw him get annihilated was, and he still played absolutely phenomenal, was the Miami game.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, come on, you got Ruben
almost beat
Bain.
Miami single-handedly.
Yeah, he was. I know the first 3 quarters of that game, I was going, man, this kid's real. He is
Mhm.
absolutely the real deal. And
Yeah, somebody was showing me Mendoza in the offseason, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to get this guy.
Yep.
And then this whole season with Indiana, like, he's just reaffirmed that for me.
yeah. So I watched 5 games of theirs this year, but those 3 big time games sold me. Absolutely
Yeah.
sold me. And I'm like, you cannot. He's got intangibles you just can't coach.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I was one of those guys when we drafted Jamarcus Russell. I was all excited, could throw it 70 yards. I watched him in the Sugar Bowl the year before, and he really balled out in the Sugar Bowl and then the offseason. And but that also too was a quarterback, a very weak quarterback class, and we needed a quarterback. I mean, bad. I mean,
Well,
and so
he
it
also
was.
benefited from the times too. If he was coming out nowadays, him being the way he was, people would have found out.
Oh, with this
Being
background.
lazy, not hardworking.
But here was Al Davis's mantra was he didn't care about that stuff as long as they had the athletic ability and the prowess to perform on the field. Because he relied on his coach. You coach him up to be good. You have to coach them. Now you think he would have learned with the Marinovich issue that there's more to it than just what they do on the football field. There's this thing called life, right? And if they're not real in their life, then you got to take that because it's going to affect them on the field, you know. And it took Al Davis the process of him actually seeing it for himself, and then getting the reports back from his security team, because he was Jamarcus was running hot in Hayward. I had a buddy of mine that was copping Hayward, and he goes, "Dude, this guy is dirty. He is dirty. He's running with some clowns like you would not believe right now." And I go, "Man, you know, he could throw it 90 yards sitting on his back, you know." Or as Warren Sapp described him, he goes, he could throw a piece of bubble gum through the hull of a ship and sink it, you know. And he did. He had an arm. He had a cannon of an arm. But that's where it stopped. There in the buffet table.
Yeah.
And it's purple syrup. No,
but getting back to quarterbacks and protecting them and everything, the rookie quarterbacks, is another thing is we got to figure out our offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, I think we could possibly have a decent starting lineup with current players as long as they're put in the right positions. That's still not good enough for me. I think we need to bring in 2 free agents, draft 2, and bring in quite a few undrafted rookies.
Yep.
Like, load up the talent that's going to be there during the offseason and make them fight for those positions.
Yeah.
Now, with the current players we have Miller's obviously left tackle, but he's got injury issues.
He's long in the tooth.
Yeah. Left guard right now, it's looking like
Parham's gone.
Yeah, Parham is on the last year of his contract. Meredith, I think, is also gone, right? They signed him to a 1 year? Or did they give him 2?
It was 2, but this is his second year. We signed him last year.
So left guard, I think, is open. And then we get, which me personally, I would try to move Glaze to left guard because he's too slow for that right tackle spot. He cannot handle speed rushers. He handles power rushers really well. Like, he does not get overpowered, but people can run right by him. So I think that gets hidden up if he gets moved to that left guard position where he can really utilize his power and go after people, especially in that run game.
Mm-hmm.
And he can be a lot more aggressive. JPJ needs to be the center as long as we don't draft one.
If we don't attack the center position, then JPJ has to be he has to be our option 1 next year. If we go get Linderbaum in free agency,
or Lou,
then
or Slaughter,
or get Slaughter in the draft, who are true natural 100% driven centers, you know, that were, yeah, they could probably play guard, but that's not where you're going to play them because they are a true blue-blooded center. Then that's where you go with that. and then JPJ at guard. Rodgers is developing, and I think Rodgers can get better in the offseason because you got to figure he's going to have an NFL offseason now, not a college offseason. So a lot of times those guys in year 2 perform way better than they do in year 1. If his development and his coaching in the offseason elevates him, right? Because right now we're seeing really good things with him, okay? But is it going to be consistent week in and week out with him?
Well, here's the thing. Let's not be complacent like we did with Glaze. Like, we thought we had a solid right tackle on Glaze, and we didn't try to bring in anything to pretty much push him.
Well, like, we got to address it. But we got a defensive line we got to address too.
Yeah.
So,
but
and I know
one of those things. We got to protect our quarterback, though. Plus, you upgrading the offensive line allows you to control the clock. So it's naturally going to make your defense better because they're going to have less time spent on the field. They're going to be a lot more rearing to go every single drive when they're not on the field after 3 and out.
Mm-hmm.
I think offensive line outside the quarterback is the must. And I'm willing to go quarterback in the first round, and then you take an offensive lineman in the second, and maybe even in the third.
Yeah.
I mean, our D-line is really weak too, but
we got Nutty Nate in here. He's shouting it out. This is for you, Nutty Nate.
Raiders.
There you go. That's for you, Nutty Nate. Thanks for coming in, stopping in, man. Get them thumbs out, hit them like buttons, subscribe to our channels, man.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no quick fix. I mean, we got so many holes that we need to fill. Like, it's not the wrong or right answer to go heavy offensive line, heavy defensive line, best player available here and there, wherever we can. Like, we just need to find talent that can start day one in those first 3 rounds.
Yep. Our first 3 rounds have to play. We have to hit, and they got to play right away. If we're going into rebuild, our first 3 rounds from this last year's draft, they need to step up. They need to be there. They need to get after it. Our first 3 picks in the Telesco need to get after it. That's Bowers, JPJ, Glaze. They got to get after it. Genty, Besh, Porter, Rodgers, Grant. They got to get after it. They got to step up, man. Because this franchise, we're pushing the franchise towards them. We're going to get you a quarterback, guys. We're going to get you a quarterback. There's no we don't do all this and get the first pick and not get. Now, if there was absolute, let's say and Morris decides to stay in and we got the first pick, well, we suck for no reason then, I guess, because usually when you suck that bad, you got to get you a franchise quarterback. But at that point, we're taking best player available at that point.
Yeah.
But
personally, I think Downs is the best player, but
I am the best player.
Not you old fart. Caleb Downs.
Oh yeah, Caleb. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he's pretty dang good.
Yeah,
or I mean, good. A lot of people are hyping up. Was it Arvell Reese, edge rusher? Put him on the opposite side of Crosby as long as we still have Crosby, which I'm betting we do. But
yeah, their player comp in Arvell is the next Micah Parsons. He could play off ball. He could play edge. You can duo him into pass cover. You can drop him into pass coverage if you need to. But for the most part, he could really dirty up a pocket. I know that. That's obvious. Yeah. But this is gonna be a long 8 months, man. Jeff, I hope you're ready. Jeff. It's gonna be a long 8 months.
It'll be fun.
It's starting to become like the off season is our season, huh? Like I'm getting tired of being more important in the off season than I am during the regular season. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing, like, okay, we got to worry about coaching, right? Is Pete Carroll staying? Who's going to be our offensive coordinator if he does? Who's going to be our new head coach if he's not? Then after that, we got free agency, which we have, was it 26 or 22 open roster spots
There's
right now?
23 expiring contracts.
Okay. So we got to fill those, which
Not
you can't
include
just
not
do that in
that's
the
not
draft.
yeah, that's not including Geno Smith's contract that we're gonna try and get. We're gonna probably eat that money and just move on from him. Unless we keep Pete. I mean, the rumor is if we keep Pete Carroll, that Geno's gonna stay. I don't think we draft a
Geno's done
quarterback if that's the
regardless.
scenario. Huh?
I think Geno's done regardless. He don't want to play with us anymore.
No, we don't want him here either. You want to flip us off? Go somewhere else. We don't need you here. You don't represent us. You know. What am I getting ready for? Well, you're getting ready for a long off season, my friend. Nutty Nate front office doesn't know what they want to do yet. Nobody's on the same page. I kind of agree with you. I think Spytech kind of has a plan. It just depends on whether he can execute the plan to his desire.
You mean allowed, right? Not whether
Yeah.
he can, but whether he's allowed.
Whether he's allowed to execute it to his desire is that's going to be a key. That's going to be key. Here's an interesting tidbit, and do a little research on the Kubiak. If we were to go and get Kubiak, which I'm about 85% on board with that. What makes it 100% on board is his associated contacts and coaches that he can get based on past relationships. I think he could build a really good staff with some of the guys some of the coaches that he's coached with in the past. One of them being, you guys might not like it when I say it, but I think Wink Martindale could come in and be a good defensive coordinator for us, and him and Kubiak have a long-standing relationship.
Who was that defensive coordinator?
Don Martindale. He was our linebackers coach in 05 and 06. We actually interviewed him to be a defensive coordinator, and then he left, went to Baltimore. But he's currently the University of Michigan defensive coordinator.
And they got a pretty dang good defense.
So and him and Kubiak have got they've coached a lot together over the years. So that would be an interesting tidbit if he can snag Martindale and bring him with him to the Raiders. And he's been with us before, and he left on good terms. It wasn't like he left on bad terms. He left on good terms. It just we were in such a disarray in 2005 and 2006 that I think he knew that pastures were greener on the other side, and I don't blame him for leaving.
Yeah. I think right now I'm leaning towards getting an offensive-minded coach and then trying to bring in an ex-head coach for the defensive coordinator position. And one might be the current Buccaneers head coach. He could be a pretty dang good defensive coordinator for us.
You think they're going to fire him?
We're going to find out this week because if they win, they're in playoffs. If they lose, they're out, right? Or are they already out?
I don't know.
Because I think they're playing Carolina. It's a playing game, right?
It might be.
Because I think Carolina's one game ahead of them.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You know, he is a good defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. And seems like teams don't really snag up ex-head coaches that are defensive coordinators. So that could provide some stability, at least for a few years, if we did get an offensive-minded head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Monday is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. You think they do Pete Carroll dirty like they did AP and let him have his press
Press
conference and then fire him the next day?
Or what they did to Jack Del Rio? That was brutal, man. Hey, you're fired, but you need to go do that press conference out there. And he goes out there, well, I've just been fired. It's like, well, thanks.
Yeah.
I felt bad for that man. He got done wrong. There is no doubt about it.
Shouldn't have fired Musgrave.
Yeah. Oh, that's another name.
Wrong.
That's another name that's tied to Kubiak. Is Musgrave.
Well, I mean, the offensive side of things, if you get an offensive-minded head coach, doesn't quite matter as much because I'm sure a young offensive head coach is going to want to call the plays.
Yeah.
And that's why
Which in Musgrave's cave, that wouldn't be a bad gig either.
Yeah.
And then you know what? With Kubiak and Musgrave, if you were to hire Kubiak as a HC and Musgrave as an OC, you know where that goes, don't you? For a bridge quarterback.
Yeah, that means we're knocking on New Orleans' door to see if we can bring Derek Carr over as a bridge or quarterback coach. I mean, he could be a coach without having to talk to New Orleans.
I know we didn't get anything when we let Carr walk out the door, but you know, if it's something as simple as a 5th round pick.
Well, I mean, it could be as simple as Carr talks to the Saints like, hey, look, I want to come back. Are you guys willing to cut me?
Yeah.
And they part ways that way.
Yeah.
Because they already have their quarterback in Shuck.
Yeah, that kid's something. He's impressed me.
He's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's impressed me. So I think New Orleans is probably not in the quarterback market this year.
Which I think means they'd be more willing to let go of Carr.
Yeah.
Plus, wasn't it on Carr's podcast where David pretty much mentioned that Derek would be willing to come back if Kubiak was a head coach?
Yeah, he liked Kubiak.
Yeah.
He liked Musgrave, too.
Mm-hmm. And he liked Gruden.
I don't want Gruden back.
I don't either.
I don't want Gruden
One
back.
was enough. And then we got 2.
Yeah. I'm not into the 3. He's too narcissistic and wants too much control. And I don't think him and Brady are going to be like oil and water. Just make it so much worse.
You know who I heard once Gruden is a lot of Giants fans.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to get through his court hearing first, right?
January 12th. We will know more January 12th. Because January 12th is the deadline for the NFL to file any motions. And once it goes past January 12th, then a court date will be set. And usually it's about 3 to 6 months out will be the court date. And at that point, the NFL is going to have to shit or get off the pot. Whether they won't, but I know Gruden wants to take it full bore. He wants to take it to the box. He wants it all out there. He wants 100% discovery.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of strange because I'm surprised Mark Davis hasn't joined sides in that lawsuit, because in all honesty, Mark Davis has a very good case because the NFL, Roger Goodell intentionally basically extorted him. It's like, hey, if you don't fire him or do something, we're going to release more emails. And Mark Davis is like, the one email I saw, we got a game tomorrow. And then the phone call happens. Hey, you going to fire him or we're going to release the emails? And so the emails got released and then he got fired.
Mark showed he's no Al. Al Davis would have definitely said, bring it on.
I don't think Al Davis would have
To
fired
your
him.
asses.
I don't think, and I think, in all honesty, Mark Davis fell to the political aspect of it because, really, in all honesty, the emails in and of themselves, I don't see how the NFL could punish him for those emails because he was not employed by the NFL when those emails were sent.
Well,
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know,
that whole thing was a shakeup to bring pressure off of the then Redskins owner.
exactly.
And then he ended up letting go, selling the team all quietly and walked out the back door without a scratch.
Yep.
It was just all a cover up on him because that's
Yep.
when all those scandals were starting to be talked about how the vast majority of his employees said he was terrible to work with. All the women that were employed by him were saying he was sexually harassing them and making rude comments and
Yeah,
just
there was no organizational control.
all that stuff. Because
Yep.
all that stuff for like, I want to say it was maybe a week straight was all over ESPN and other sports news outlets.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, John Gruden,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what the heck? Where'd this come from? And why is it being brought up now?
No. What's up, Sacktown? Welcome in, my friend. He spelled Duncan wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it's spelled right for the
No, it's
coffee,
not.
isn't it? That's not Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, no, Dunkin' Donuts is KIN. Still
That's what
spelled
he's-
wrong though.
Oh, got to protect the assets, huh? But yeah, that was a bullshit deal, and especially at the time that it was done, when we were rolling, we were starting to get hot, and it looked like we were going to be probably the contender in the AFC West that year. And then all of a sudden that shit starts happening, and it was just like that. It was so intentional what they did to it, what the NFL did to us, you know. And
Yep.
With everything else that has happened over the years with the NFL, they just absolutely don't like us. And I really truly think they don't care if we ever win another game, the NFL, because the Las Vegas market is such a open market to where all the teams are enjoying it. Vegas, you know, and so long as the stadium is sold out, fans butts are in the seats, and the games are being played, NFL doesn't care because they're making their money. But that's not how we do stuff in this. For us, that's not how that works. We need to take that stadium back over, and until we start winning, it ain't gonna happen. And you can clip
That's
that.
it. Need to start winning. But need to get a quarterback. Need to upgrade the O-line. Need to get a better receiver. Need to upgrade the defense all around. Got a lot of holes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
We may need a new kicker too.
Yeah.
It's looking like we're not going to be keeping Carlson.
No, doesn't look like it. He's not the same. He's fell off the last 3 or 4 years. He's not the.
Ever since we
But
got
then
rid of
again,
our long snapper.
The last 2 years, we haven't been in a position really for him to
Matter.
yeah, minus the Bears game, but that was a missed block that caused that. That wasn't him. That would have been that field goal was going to be good.
Or not throwing 3 interceptions.
Yeah, but we could have still won the damn game. Though. That's what could have won the Jacksonville game. But then again, those games don't mean anything when you're getting beat 34-10, 22-9, 34-10, 31-8, or 31-9. It just when a team is in victory formation with 4 minutes to go in the game, that sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Well, welcome to the Raiders. We suck.
No. Welcome, Clay Greeno. We need an O-line. Yep. We were just talking about that Clay, that we need an O line, but for those of you that are in the chat, I mentioned it earlier, but if you guys want to chime in now, as to do we prioritize the offensive line over a quarterback, or do we go ahead and get that franchise quarterback now and build the offensive line? And if you guys want to chime in with the chat, hit those thumbs, get those keyboards rolling, and we'll see what we can come up with. Let's get this discussion going. Let's have a debate.
Disagree, Money Chuck. Gruden never would have been hired. Can't be fired if you're not hired.
Yeah, if Al Davis was still alive, he would have never rehired Gruden.
Nope.
And that was that caused a lot of animosity amongst the troops when that happened.
Yeah, that's why we lost our radio play caller.
Yeah.
It's because he
and Mark Davis
went off on Mark Davis.
Mark Davis also interviewed Mike Shanahan and gave him his money.
Yeah. That's
all right, Nutty Raider. You say you're not sold on Mendoza. Tell us why.
Stats.
Got to tell us why, because I know there's a lot of evidence out there that supports it the other way.
Clay Greeno said definitely quarterback, but the next pick better be O-line, which I'm 100% all for that.
Unless we address it in free agency prior to the draft.
No, even if we do.
Well, let's say we get Linderbaum and we get another Pro Bowl caliber guard or right tackle.
Well, if you're getting another Pro Bowl caliber right guard, we still have a hole at right tackle. So even if we did get a right tackle too, though, I want to draft 2 O-linemen.
But it's not going to be.
It doesn't have to be a second round pick.
We don't have to reach.
Well,
is what I'm saying.
We don't have to.
We don't have to reach. We can actually play we could be more of a BPA and instead of trying to reach to fill our needs. So that's one of the biggest mistakes GMs make in the first 3 rounds is they start drafting for need versus best player available.
I'll tell you right now,
you start reaching.
If that right tackle from Clemson's there on our second pick, you take that guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be good.
Jeff.
In the situation, he would have fired him. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Because Mendoza's prettier than me, so I don't want him. Well, you're not going to want very many quarterbacks then.
That's why you don't want Geno's, because he's prettier than you. I want Caleb Downs or trade with the Jets.
Why not both?
Well, we're going to do this year, Jeff. Trade back, get more picks. Trade back, get more picks. Trade back, get more picks. Jeff, you got to watch Jeff's mock draft. They're funnier than I'll get up. He will end up with 30 picks in his mock draft.
And they're all 5th rounders or later?
Yeah. Well, he'll trade back so much it's like the first round's over with. And it's like, well, you traded back 3 times. Now you got 30. You got 15 second-round picks. Does JPD go back to center? I say no. I think they're going to address the center position individually. I don't think they're going to. Yes, depend. Yeah, it depends on whether or not we can address it in free agency.
Depends on coaching. Depends on free agency. It depends on the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line is, if he's the best center on our team, he's going to be the center.
Mendoza's a rebel that uses glue or something like that. He's just the kid's emotional. You just got to take it for what it's worth. There are some people
that play with it. He stays cool in that pocket.
Yeah. 21. Okay, we're back on there. Likely some player who was projected as a first rounder will fall to the second. If a wide receiver, cornerback, defensive line player does, I think we should take BPA. Exactly. At that point, you're gonna address your needs, but you also want to stick with best player available. This is Mr. the skipper's whatchamacallit, his draft from last year.
Well, he reached on Will Johnson, and Jackson Dart wasn't going to be there.
Yeah.
I think Travion Henderson went before that.
Yeah.
Scadaboo, I think, got picked before that.
No, Scadaboo was right in
that
that 94, 96, Kyron Lacey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like BPA overall, but in the case, Clemson's right tackle, I think his last name is Miller, is there. He's the best player available.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll dive in more with some of these guys as we go along. I know we still got a game to play, and we're talking about mock drafts. Yeah. We're talking about mock drafts. Not a game.
Now we were talking about mock drafts from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it. It's just what the hole we fell in, I guess, huh?
Yeah. I don't know, Jeff, you want to find out?
He actually owes me one, but
yeah.
That story will never die. I need to watch some more, but so far he's not popping off the screen for me. He benefited from being on a good team. Good chance we draft him with no help, and he loses confidence quickly. Absolutely. Which games have you? First of all, if you go back to his Cal tape, and that team was horrible, and he carried that team at Cal, and then at Indiana, while he's performed in the games like a superstar in which he needs to be a superstar. You're gonna find some tape, some games where they're playing, a bad team, and he looks average, but he's still performing. A lot of that is game plan too, and like I said earlier, you're going to see a lot of games where they were blowing people out, and they didn't need him to sling it around the yard no more. So, and their running back that they have, he's pretty good. But if you just look, just the three games that I mentioned, and Duncan says the same thing, is you look at the Penn State game, you look at the Oregon game, you look at the Ohio State game, and you watch him perform from first quarter to fourth quarter, there is no doubt that kid has the it. Now, I'm going to side with you a little bit on this, Raider Nate. There's a possibility that when he does get to the next level, that he can't extend and go farther with his talent. Did he hit his ceiling before he got to the NFL? That's a good question. And those are going to be questions that are going to have to be answered in the offseason when they start to do the interviews, the player evaluations, addressing his, he's still got the playoffs, right? So we'll see how he performs in the playoffs. But up to this point, I truly think he's the number one pick. And I said that after the Penn State game. This guy's going to be the number one pick.
What's funny about the talent on the team, though, is after they announced the college football playoff bracket, Indiana was the second worst talented team in the bracket behind James Madison.
Yeah, when you start to factor in the 4-star and 5-star recruits. Yeah.
Indiana is the only team in the college playoff bracket that had 0 5-star recruits. Mm-hmm. And then I think they only had 6 4-star recruits.
Yeah.
Like, talent-wise, they're rated lower than every other team. I think it's more of he benefits from great coaching. And there's something about great coaching that translates really well into the NFL level. Is NFL teams are starting to like players that come from really well-coached teams because they're able to step up and fill roles quicker.
Yeah. I think what's going to hurt Indiana the most come the playoffs is Stephen Daly is out. He got hurt celebrating after the Ohio State game, and
Who's that?
that's their defensive tackle.
Oh,
The dude is a beast. He's a beast, and he got hurt. I don't know exactly what happened. Let's see. All it says is a serious leg injury, and he's expected to miss the remainder of the season. His he was his stats were pretty good for an interior defensive lineman.
but I got a question for Nutty Raider Nate. Do you like more then, or would you rather trade back and pick up some picks, get BPA, or just draft right where we're at and get BPA there? Like, if you don't like Mendoza, like, what's your ideal situation? Oh, Moore definitely has a better arm. He's also more athletic. Problem is he disappears in games.
Yeah.
Where Mendoza elevates the closer the end of the game comes. And Mendoza's arm is definitely good enough for the NFL. And he has the mind to play in the NFL too.
And also, you got to take
Right.
into consideration that Mendoza has more game time under his belt than what Moore does.
Yeah.
So that in of itself is going to help him at the next level. If Moore comes out, I can tell you that if Moore comes out this year, he definitely has to sit a whole year. He is not. You are not. You're going to run into the. You're going to kind of run into the same thing as Anthony Richardson, except for Moore is more accurate. He won't throw. I mean, there's a difference between a 50% completion rate and a 70% completion rate, right? Moore is accurate. He can get the ball to his players, but I think what the nuances of the game and be able to handle the ebbs and flows of the NFL game, he needs more time to develop that under that. And playing at a higher level, now playing at Oregon has given him a better chance than if he'd have stayed at UCLA, progressing to the next level. But at the same time, you got to we all know the Oregon quarterbacks that have come out, that you got to kind of knock that Oregon stuff out of him and build him into an NFL caliber quarterback. So I'm not opposed to Moore. I like Moore. Don't get me wrong. I think he's super talented kid. Yes, he does have a good arm. So what? His arm's better than Mendoza, but I can tell you right now, Mendoza's arm is plenty good enough for the NFL. It is plenty good enough for the NFL.
Plus, Mendoza already has a really quick release,
Mm-hmm.
which is very important in the NFL.
Great pocket presence. He very seldomly will you see him put the ball in harm's way. He does have a couple pick sixes this year, but I think that was him being a little bit more greedy than it was poor decision making. Well, poor decision making, but it was being greedy. And sometimes that's the risk you take. You know, I mean, Matthew Stafford he throws pick sixes too. You know, Tom Brady threw pick sixes. You know, it's just, can you overcome him? And that's the thing with Mendoza is he throws a pick six, he comes right back, and it's like he never threw that pick six.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, bottom line for me is I'd be happy with either one. I think they're both going to be very good in the NFL. I just lean towards Mendoza.
Yep. I am too.
More of the pushing points for me is Mendoza's mental side of it than physical side of it, because he's played two different college systems now and excelled at both of them, because they play that spread at Cal and then more of a pro style offense here in Indiana. And he's got plenty of game time experience, unlike Moore.
Yeah.
but Moore is by no means a bad quarterback, and he
No.
definitely deserves to be in that top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And I think the draft class for the quarterbacks overall is bringing down Mendoza and Moore than, and it really shouldn't, because I think those two players are definitely standouts.
But my honest opinion is there are if Moore comes out, there are two competent quarterbacks that you can draft as a franchise quarterback to lead your team. I believe Moore can be a franchise quarterback. He just has his learning curve is going to be a little bit high. His floor is he's lower on the floor, but maybe a higher ceiling than Mendoza. But at the same time, I still think Mendoza paired with the right coach and the right assets around him could be phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Oh, Nutty Raider Nate, draft defense this year, trade back, build trenches, but I do want to replace Geno bad.
Who do you replace him with?
I don't know. I mean, we did mention if we got Kubiak and but I forgot the OC's name already.
Musgrave?
Yeah, Musgrave. That Carr could be a serious name.
No.
But I doubt that happens, and I know a lot of Raider fans don't want Carr back, which
and there's a lot of Raider fans that do. I'm not opposed to it. To be quite honest, I don't think that should be the intent. I don't think we should go out and seek out that move. But if for some reason it could be a supplementary type thing to add to what we're doing, I'm all for it. I'm not. It's like, hey, we're going to go get Derek Carr. We're going to pay him $22 million a year or whatever. Get our rookie quarterback. He can sit behind Derek Carr for a year, And if for some reason Derek comes out and makes us 12-5 in 1 year, and it's like, okay, well, that first round pick's going to sit another year. You know what I mean? It's like he's not going to sit more than 3 years, but we got 5 years to work with him. You know what I mean? So, yes, Nutty Raider, most definitely for the right price. And you know what? I mean, if it's a 5th round pick, we give New Orleans a 5th round pick for Derek Carr to be our bridge quarterback for the rookie we just drafted. Dude, I think that's a win-win scenario. You know what I mean? You bring in a veteran quarterback who's already got ties to the franchise that knows what, and then if we hire Kubiak, he's already familiar with Kubiak's playbook. So that's not that's not going to be a hard situation. But then at that point, then we need to address the weapons too, because it really, in all honesty, we just need one wide receiver that is capable of 8 to 10 catches a game. That's all we need.
I'll tell you this right now is if Carr unretires because he wants to play, Saints are going to cut him because they can't keep his contract. They're still recovering from the cap hell they were in.
Yeah.
And they have show, so there's no reason to.
But they could also trade. They could also trade him because he's got no guarantees left. They can trade him to us for a 5th round pick, and then we could restructure his contract to a lower minimum.
And we can tell him no.
Huh?
They're going to cut Carr. Like, if Carr comes out of retirement, they cut Carr because nobody has to take a deal from him. And because he'd be cut during the free agency period, there's no rights to claiming him.
And he could go wherever he wants.
Yeah.
At that point. And that's going to be a bidding war.
No. Carr's going to pick and choose where he wants to go.
Yeah, but let's say Arizona throws a bid in for him.
Why would he want to play for Arizona? If they get Kubiak, then yeah. But you think Kubiak's going to go to a division rival?
They could. Ben Johnson did it.
Yeah, but Ben Johnson had ties to the Chicago area.
Yeah.
I could see Kubiak doing it just because it's not like he's been at Seattle for a long time. He's only been there 1 year. So, like, I can see it happening, but I don't know. Arizona tends to make very weird coaching hires.
Yeah. I wonder if they fire Gannon though.
Oh, they're firing. He's going to be the worst coach they've ever had in their history.
Mm-hmm.
He's about to be the losingest coach.
Mm-hmm.
Once he loses this next week.
Yeah.
If you keep him after that, like you're begging to lose again. Like,
Yeah.
plus he's not that great of a coach, anyways. I didn't like the hire to begin with, but I'm not an Arizona fan, so I'm not going to cry about it.
No, I'm not going to cry about it either. I'm more worried about what we do.
Yeah.
All right. So we now currently have the number 1 pick. And the question is going to be now what? And the now what is going to be the longest, let's see, 5.5 months that we got left until the draft. And then the free agency in and of itself. Right? And whether or not we trade current pieces for different, more draft picks or whatnot. Because I be quite honest with you, I don't think Michael Myers is off the table as far as trade bait. I think as much as I hate to say it, I mean, Max Crosby, I mean, anything's for sale for the right price. You guys know that, right? If somebody comes to you and offers you a plethora of money, let's say I come up to you and I say, "Hey, I'll give you $500 for that Woodson jersey." You would probably rip it down off the coat hanger and hand it to me without even batting an
I
eye.
can just go get another one and save $400.
Okay. Now, edge rushers don't grow on trees, but there's a lot of good edge rushers in this draft all the way up to the 4th round. So, I mean, they got Zion Young all the way into the late 3rd round. So, now he's not Max Crosby. He's not as flashy, but that kid he can ball out. And he put a good whooping on Caden Proctor when they played Alabama. So,
yeah. Well, I also think Caden Proctor's overrated, but
me too.
That's me. He's the Alabama O-lineman for this draft, so he's got to be 1st round.
And you know what? A lot of those Alabama offensive linemen, they come into the NFL and they kind of feel entitled. Yeah. They act like they're entitled. Like they came from Alabama, so they have to. They're the big shots. They're the big guy on campus in the NFL right away. And so that was old Mr. Leatherwood's problem. He came into the Raiders and he thought, I'm just going to walk out there, be a starter day one, and be the best player. I don't have to put in the work. Yeah, how this works. Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to slowly come to the conclusion that you draft Big Ten O-linemen unless there's like standouts someplace else. Like for this instance, there's 3 O-linemen outside the Big Ten that I really like, and they're all play right tackle. That's Fano, Maligoa, and Miller.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the surefire route for O-line is just draft Big Ten.
Well, a lot of times when you're looking at offensive linemen, you got to look at the school they're coming from, because the schools have a tendency to produce quality offensive linemen, period. And I could just Iowa. Iowa had 3 All-Americans on their offensive line.
Interior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you say his last name? Denker? You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He's a beast. Denker. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. That kid, he's a beast. He's a beast. Iowa, Georgia, another school that produces really good interior offensive linemen.
I think Georgia produces better D-line, but yeah,
well,
no.
If you look at some of the guys in
interior O-line, but
they have a
Ohio
tendency
State usually has some pretty good offensive tackles. They consistently produce.
Boston College used to produce some good offensive linemen too.
They used to produce linebackers also.
Yeah. So a lot of times when you're looking at your offensive linemen, a lot of times look at the school, especially if you go into Draft Buzz and the rankings and Draft Buzz with interior offensive linemen, you start to see the same school 3 or 4 times in the top 50.
Yeah.
You know? So
and it don't make sense, but sometimes you see 3 guys from the same school for the same position.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that telling you?
Yeah. Well, we're at 2 hours, my friend, and 12 people in here are watching us today. All the people in the chat. Nutty Raider Nate, thank you so much, man, for joining us. Your takes are awesome, dude. We like that. We like to have a debate and then just bring it forward a little bit more. Who else do we got in here? It's in our chat with us. Bueno, my guy, Bueno. Money Chuck's always got good takes. Sometimes he pisses people off, but you know what? You just got to listen to what he says, and sometimes if you read his comments, you got to read them twice to go. That makes sense. 401, huh?
Clay Greeno,
thanks for coming in. Yeah, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. If you go to the description on YouTube, go in the description box. There's 3 links in there. You just click on those. It's Raiders First Downs, Duncan Raiders, and 401_Raiders_ Jeff. Hit those buttons and subscribe to our channel. And then once you do that, hit the bell that says for notifications and check all, right? Or personalized. And that way, when we go live, you'll get the notification, because I have a feeling, Duncan, that we might be doing an impromptu live in the near future.
Very well could be.
Very well could be. Even though we're slated Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central time, because that's where Mr. Duncan is in the Central time zone. And 8 o'clock Eastern time is when we will be rolling out our Raider Nation Show Me Your Shield. Do me a favor, if you can, clip the link and send it out. If you have IG, you got Discord. We're both also in the Discord, the Rodney All Aboard Discord channel. A lot of good people in there. We got Zach, Cairo 3, Truvosity, Grims, all those guys, some of our pals over there on the Discord, in our Discord chat, that we get some really great conversation. Sometimes we piss each other off, but that's what families do, right? So what we want to try and do is bring this together, man. We're a small channel, small content channel, but there's a lot of knowledge in this room between the two of us. If you guys have trivia questions or anything like that you want to stump us with, get those out, man. Throw them in the chat and see if we can answer them. If not, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to give you guys questions and see if you guys can figure it out. And trust me, I can throw some dingers in there. Just ask Raider Jeff. He'll tell you. We're working on, this is only episode 3, so we're not pros at this by any means, but by this time next year, we hope to be. But we also remember those that are starting with us, such as the Nutty Raider Nate. You guys that are, people that I haven't seen before in other forums coming over here and joining us. Trust me, you will not be forgotten, my friend.
I also like to thank Sacktown Raider Mike.
Yep.
I'm not Bueno. Just everyone else that stopped by and contributed to the comments. That's what we want, is we want comment interaction. We want to react with you guys and have some fun with it, because we need some entertainment, and our team ain't giving it.
Yep. And so the Show Me the Shield part of the show title is, as we go into the off season, we're going to dig into fandom, and we'll have impromptu fans coming on the show that we'll be doing a lot of Q&A type questions with, and you guys in the chat as well can do it. and share a lot of experiences, memories. How did you develop into a Raider? Just a whole plethora of Q&A type sit down with people. And so there's going to be some surprises that come along with it, obviously. And then there's just going to be people just like you and me that are going to come on the show. And I know me and Duncan really haven't delved into our side of fandom, but we will as the show continues. So as you guys are joining us, you'll know where we come from as a fan. Because bottom line is there's only one nation, and that's the Raider Nation. So next week, next Tuesday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be live again. Hit those notifications just in case we do go live in an impromptu live and bring you some more content and whatnot. Also, too, I'd like to give a shout out to my guy 805 Raider. Go over, check out his show. He does on Wednesday nights. He does film breakdown. He did it tonight because tomorrow night's New Year's Eve, so he's probably got to go get his party on tomorrow night, and so he decided to do it tonight. But him and Severe and Chris from Protect the Shield, great guys, man. Awesome show. My buddy Afakasi Raider, our Australian counterpart, he'll be coming up in the off season as well. Does an excellent show. 93 Navman, another friend of mine in Tennessee. He does a show pretty good. It's good family interaction, and that's just what it is. We're a family. It doesn't matter who's out on the field, it's us that represent the Shield. So when we ask you, and it's time, just show us your Shield. You got anything else for us, Duncan?
Go check out 401 Raider Jeff. I believe he has a show going on that just started, right?
Just started at 7 o'clock. 401 Raider Jeff. If you haven't gone to his link is in the description. Just click on that link. Go check out his show. He's president of the New England chapter of the Black Hole. Very passionate fan. You would think me and him were brothers, and we just met like a year ago. But he's a really good dude. Got a great show. He also on Friday nights will be bringing out a new concept of, and that's what we should do as Raider fans as well, is embrace other franchises fans, because there are fans of other teams that they're pure fans, but they're also football fans. And there isn't nothing better than sitting down discussing football with another team's fan and having a good, healthy, hearty conversation over football. Because there's more to it than just the Raiders, even though it is the Raiders. So we'll be signing off here. We'll be signing off here tonight. We thank you guys for coming in, and we'll stay in touch. So in the meantime, go Raiders.
Salute.
Cold open, counted out. Yeah, we heard the talk. Cold nights and long losses, still we walk. Scoreboard hurt, but the heart stayed real. Still wear the black, still flash the shield. From Oakland roots to Vegas dust, pain in the season, but we still trust. They say it's over, I say move on, but